Hey guys, welcome back to my horror channel. Today I am here with a list of jump scare moments from horror movies that almost gave me a heart attack. Now, these moments aren't really in any particular order. However, the entry at my number one spot is definitely the jumpiest moment of all time for me. So starting today's list off at number 10 is The Conjuring 2. My house. Say what you like about the Conjuring movies, they definitely know how to get your hearts racing. Now, in this second installment, we follow the true story of the infamous Enfield poltergeist that occurred in the 70s in London, where a lot of strange activity was taking place. Now, there are quite a few jumpy moments in The Conjuring 2, but I honestly think that the scene where Janet is alone at home because, she's off sick from school. She's sitting there watching TV during a thunderstorm, which ends up knocking out the TV signal. Now, while Janet is trying to fix the TV signal, she ends up seeing a reflection of that scary old man sitting in the armchair in the sofa in the corner of the living room. Now, while the audience is waiting for something to happen in that armchair, it quickly cuts to Janet, who's next to the TV, and there's the old man right behind her shouting, "My house." I ain't joking, guys. My heart almost stopped during that scene. I can remember everyone in the theatre for the first time when I was watching it. They screamed their heads off. At number 9 now, and it is Insidious. And the scene that makes me jump the most is not the scene that you're all thinking of. Now, I know a lot of you and a lot of people do find the scene with the red face popping up in the kitchen. They usually find that a very jumpy moment. However, I can remember seeing that moment a lot in the trailers and the teasers before the film was even released, so it didn't really have a huge impact on me when I watched the movie. No, the scene that I am talking about is the moment where one of those paranormal investigator guys, he is going around the house taking loads of photos with a UV camera. And there's this moment where he starts taking photos of this particular doorway quite a few times in different coloured shots. Then all of a sudden these two girl spirits pop up and they give this really creepy, scary smile, and it's absolutely terrifying. Like, you're there, you know it's coming, you don't know what it is, but you know it's coming, and when it's executed perfectly. It almost reminds me of the creepy girl twins from The Shining. At number 8, and it is Stephen King's It, the 1990 version. Now, I was very young when I watched this movie for the very first time, so this jump scare might not be the strongest on today's list, but remember guys, I was very young and still very new to horror at the time. There's a scene where all of the bullied kids, they are literally flicking through some photographs, and then one of the photos sort of like turns into a moving video. You then see Pennywise the clown dancing around, and he comes up really close to the camera, and he's just there telling all of these scared children that, he is all of their worst nightmares and he is coming for them. And then his hand comes flying out of the book that the kids are holding. And I mean, yes, I know it's very tame by today's standards. It sounds very lame looking back at it, but it made me jump out of my skin at the time when I was a little kid in the 90s. I still can't make up my mind though if I prefer the original It or the remake. I think they are both fantastic in their own right, but what do you guys think? Let me know. Number 7 now, and it is the classic 1978's Halloween. Now, this is another movie that I did watch when I was probably way too young, and Michael Myers did terrify me as a youngster. Anyway, this classic movie has plenty of scares and quite a few jumpy moments, from Laurie Strode bumping into Sheriff Brackett to one of the bullies running into Michael Myers while at school. But this scene that literally gets me every single time, and it almost made me fall off my chair. It's the moment where Laurie goes over to check on her friends, and she is presented with a load of dead bodies. And then all of a sudden, Bob's swinging body makes an appearance, which even to this day is bloody brilliant. Everything from the musical masterpiece that is composed in this movie and the sound effects, it really adds to the moments like this. Now, we didn't know where Michael Myers was during this scene. We knew that he was there, hiding somewhere in the house, and I suppose when Bob's body comes flying down, swinging through the door upside down, I think we all thought for a moment there that it was Michael Myers, which is why I think we all kind of jump that much more. It's absolutely epic. At number 6, and we've got Drag Me to Hell. Now, this is a movie that is full of jump scares. I can remember going to the cinema to see this one, and the whole cinema was absolutely packed, and there were so many people screaming throughout the film and also laughing. It was quite the experience. Now, the main character, Christine, she ends up being cursed by some crazy old lady, and she ends up popping in to see this guy doing tarot readings. Now, there is a scene where the tarot guy takes Christine's hand, and there's this really long pause between the tarot guy's face and Christine's face, and then the camera's just there panning back and forth, and it feels like that this scene goes on for like ages, but I think it only lasts around about 30 seconds. Anyway, what happens is this demon face thing literally just pops up on the screen, and it screams and it howls, and it literally only pops up for like about 1 second and then it's gone. But I tell you what, guys, my chest was literally hurting after this scene, and it happens quite early on in the film, and it really puts you on edge for the rest of the film. It's totally unexpected. It 100% catches you off guard, and you feel like swearing at the movie after it happens. The halfway mark now at number 5, and it's one of my favourite horror movies, The Descent, which came out in 2005. Yes, this movie is almost 20 years old at the time of me making today's video. Like, where the frig did that time go? The Descent follows a group of friends who go on an underground cave-in adventure that goes massively wrong, and they end up getting trapped. If you suffer with claustrophobia, this movie is not for you. The moment that made me jump is, I think it's the scene that made everybody jump. It's the scene where the friends, they end up discovering a load of dead animal bones, which automatically sends a shiver down your spine, because if all of these animals are dead, then there must mean that there is no way out. And all the friends, they start to panic, and then one of them, they're using like this infrared camera to see in the dark, and then there's a lot of shaky handheld movements for a few seconds, but when the camera stops, there is this terrifying creature standing behind one of the women, and it is absolutely terrifying. It doesn't happen until much later on in the movie, and you kind of forget that there might be something in this cave, like a monster or something lurking around, because you're totally focused at the friends trying to find a way out, you know, trying to get through some really terrible, you know, nail-biting obstacles. You know, it's like a fight for survival. So when these monsters do arrive in the movie, it really does catch you off guard. You almost think your eyes are playing tricks on you for a moment before the monster actually attacks, and it's really well done. A true scary jumpy moment. Number 4 now, and it's one of the M. Night Shyamalan movies, and it's called Signs. Now, I know this movie hasn't aged very well, but when I went to the cinema to watch this for the first time, it did scare me. I mean, this is a movie about alien invasion, so very different to most of the other films on this list, and there are some genuinely creepy moments, but the moment that terrified me and made me jump out of my skin is that infamous news report moment when they end up showing a video clip that's a family have caught during a birthday party. Now, while it's playing out, for ages we're there looking around trying to see, like, what have these children just seen? You're almost like trying to get your head through the screen to get to see what on earth they're all screaming at. And then all of a sudden that alien creature casually pops out from the bush that is camouflaged in and just walks past like a sort of alleyway, or it's like the edge of a driveway, driveway, and it looks at the camera as it walks past in his own creepy alien weird way. Now, you know when your friends tell you about a viral video that's doing the rounds, they warn you not to watch it, but of course, if you're like me, you ignore them, and the first thing you do is go Googling for it and you watch it, and then you instantly regret it. Well, this is what this scene made me feel after watching it. It might not be the scariest movie on this list, but you gotta admit it, guys, the alien scene was genius. At number 3, and it's my all-time favourite horror film, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Nobody can argue that A Nightmare on Elm Street is one of horror's finest. Freddy Krueger ripping you apart in your dreams that causes you to die for real is just terrifying on its own. And the Nightmare movies are full of jump scares, but the one that really stands out for me the most, and it's also my favorite Freddy kill scene, it's the moment where a very young Johnny Depp is pulled and sucked into his bed by Freddy. Don't get me wrong, these days you would just know that it's coming, Freddy's gonna grab him, but when you're watching A Nightmare on Elm Street for the very first time in the 90s, as a young kid who probably shouldn't be watching it, the part where Freddy's arms come flying up with a high-pitched sound effect completely terrified me and actually made me very scared of beds for quite some time. Okay, this one just misses out on the top spot at number 2, and it is The Conjuring, the first one. Now, this, in my opinion, is one of the best horror movies to come out in the last 15 years. The movie is full of scares, full of intense, terrifying moments, and it just ticks all of the boxes. Great story, great acting from everyone. It's brilliant. Now, with The Conjuring, you can literally play pick and mix with the jump scares, but the one that made me jump the most was a scene where Lorraine has just fallen through this cupboard flooring, and she's gone all the way down into the basement. Now what she ends up doing is she ends up shining her torch around, and then all of a sudden these hanging legs, like dead feet, like a rotting corpse, just flies down and right in front of her. And honest to God, there's like this really loud hanging sort of creak sound effect, and it's a jump scare that literally made me scream out loud like a girl, because I was not expecting it. It really did catch me off guard. I thought we were going to get like a little bit of a breathing space before the scary shit was coming back, but no. They grab you and they slap you across the face with that jump scare. Whenever I rewatch this movie and the hanging scene comes on, I always end up having a little giggle to myself for screaming out loud like a little girl. And my number 1 jump scare moment of all time is Sinister, another fantastic horror movie that has been released in the last 15 years. Sinister is one of those movies that really gives you the chills. Everything from the music, the sound effects, the atmosphere, and then once you start watching those old-fashioned videotapes that are full of murders from different families, you really do get a horrible feeling of dread. Now, the jump scare scene in this movie involves one of these murder tapes, and it also involves a lawnmower. Up until this point, I don't recall there being many jump scare moments. If there were any, then none of them seemed to happen on the murder tapes. So I thought I was safe when the lawnmower murder scene came on. Oh no. Oh god, we ended up watching this lawnmower being pushed along some grass in the rain at night time. So, the picture quality wasn't the best. So you're proper like watching to see what's going to happen, and it goes on for quite some time until a person that's laying down on the grass appears and the lawnmower goes right over them. Now, the sound effect that they use to create this jump scare is absolutely off the scale. They honestly did turn the volume up to 1,000. The sound is like a mix between a demon and a zombie screaming while being burnt alive. My heart was physically hurting when I saw this for the very first time. Like, I genuinely thought I was about to have a heart attack. And I've never experienced another jump scare quite like this one. And this is why this is at my number 1 jump scare moment ever. Unless that changes in the future. So then guys, I want to hear some of your scariest jump scare moments. Which horror movies that features a good jump scare moment, which one of them almost gave you a heart attack? Let me know. And also, let me know what you thought of my list today. Okay then, well, we have reached the end of today's video. Time to wrap this one up. Thank you all for watching today. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, stay safe out there, and I will see you all again very, very soon.